What's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode. In today's video, we're going to be getting some really fun stuff started with the Mini. So, if you guys remember from a while ago, we actually put some really wide wheels and tires on the Mini. Now, this was before I did the entire engine overhaul. Now, the reason why I did that was because I was planning on beating the crap out of the car, going to the track, and I wanted as sticky of a tire setup as possible. So, I went with really wide, for Minis, wheel setup, along with a tire setup that's a lot better than stock. So what you guys see here is the wheel. This here is an Apex Arc 8 wheel. The wheels that I currently have on the Mini are a 17x7 wheel with a 215 tire. Now this setup that I have right here is going to be not only grippier, but it's going to be a hell of a lot wider. So this is going to be a 17x8.5 plus 20 wheel with a 235 slick on it. Now this is going to give me so much grip. Take a look at this stuff. So this is the wheel. We used to have a 255/40 mounted on this wheel, and it was a Toyo R888R. Great tire. The only problem with that setup is the tire was actually too wide, that it gave us a little bit of bulge on the wheel. So you'd have like a little bit of tire, instead of being straight up and down, it would overhang. And it did that on both sides. And what we have right here are a set of Toyo RR slicks. These are 40 compounds. These things are going to be stupidly grippy. And this here should be a little bit narrower of a section. It's gonna allow me to have not so much bulge, which in turn means I'll be able to put great power down because it's a slick, but because it's gonna have less bulge, I'm gonna be able to have a more responsive wheel and tire setup. So I have the tire pressure sensor already mounted. It's gonna be mounted up, it's gonna look so damn good, and it's gonna be an amazingly grippy set of wheels and tires for the Mini. Now, the wheels that we have on the car right now are 17x7 plus 38 or something like that, so it's a relatively weak wheel. This is going to be a lot more aggressive because it's not only wider, but it's a plus 20 offset, which means it will stick out more. Now, because of that, we're gonna be putting wide body fender flares on the car. You guys would have seen them on the channel if you guys are staying up to date with the channel, but that is all going to be this big recipe so that I get the most amount of grip possible. So, let's load these things up in the car, and let's go get them mounted. Alrighty, so we're on our way right now to the Ford dealership where they have a really nice tire machine. I have never seen them scratch any of my wheels that I get mounted. So pretty much every single wheel that you guys have seen on any of my cars have been mounted at the Ford dealership or All-in-One Auto, the same place that I got my car dynoed at. And because of that, they did a really good job. They're gonna get my repeat business. So I'm bringing the 4 tires in the back seat, 1 wheel in the back seat, 2 wheels up front, and I have another wheel that's in the trunk. So we're gonna hopefully get some really nice grip out of this. These are not going to be made for any kind of condition like we're seeing today where it's raining. These kind of tires are specifically meant for the dry. So if you're gonna be ever seeing standing water with a set of tires like this, it's not gonna be a good time. So this is pretty much gonna be a track only tire. We'll see how it actually goes, but a 40 compound, which is what this tire is going to wear so fast. So I don't plan on daily driving this, even though these are DOT approved tires. Now, one big difference that I am going to notice is not only grip, but the weight is going to be a huge factor too. So the weight of my current tires on the Mini, the PFO ones with reinforced RE71Rs, those are Bridgestone tires, great wheel and tire setup, but they are kind of heavy because they're reinforced. This here, wheel-wise, is only a pound heavier. Tire, I'm not sure because I haven't weighed the 215 RE71s like separate on their own. But this shouldn't be too much heavier than the entire wheel and tire setup that we're going to be seeing. So once I get all this mounted up, I'm going to take the PFO ones off, weigh those, wheel and tire setup, and then I'm going to compare it to these. I'm expecting these to be maybe a little bit heavier, not by much. If they're lighter, man, I'll be super pumped about that. These wheels are flow formed, which means they've got a cast face forged barrel. But that's enough talking for now. I'll see you guys soon. All right, guys, so we just got home. We have the tires now mounted on these wheels. Now, the Fitment, if you guys remember from before, from the 255/40s, on these 8.5s, there was a bit of bulge, and it wasn't exactly ideal for track use. So because of that bulge, it's not going to be as responsive of a setup like compared to something else that was a narrower section. So these are a 235/40 instead of a 255/40. This looks so much better. Now, let me take all this stuff outside and I'll show you how awesome this stuff is. I'm also going to throw it on the scale to see how much it weighs and compare it to the previous setup. Alright guys, so here is one of 4 of the wheels and tires that have been going on the Mini. So this is the Apex with our new Toyo Slick on here, the Toyo RR. This is their most aggressive, stickiest, still legal on the road, wheel and tire setup. So take a look at how little tread there is on this tire. So you can see that there's a wear bar right here. These holes right here are where you would get a track temp. So you basically stick a thermometer in that little area, you get a reading, and you'd see how the tire is wearing from the outside to inside to outside. So if you have inconsistent temperatures across the board, you know you need to change your alignment. But take a look at this. This fits so well. So this is a 235/40 on an 8.5. And here she is. Look at how good this looks. I am so excited to run this thing. So we've got Apex Arc 8 wheels, tire pressure sensors installed in the valve stems, and this is pretty much ready to go. So all that I need to do is wait for my last wide body fender flare to come in because one of them was damaged, and then I can put this on the car, get this going, and beat the crap out of this car. Okay, so let's give this a shot. So this here, we'll put this on the scale, and we'll see how much the Apex wheel weighs. So you can tell this thing weighs 39.8 pounds. Now this is a little bit wider of a wheel and tire versus the stock setup. Let's throw that PF01 on here and see how much that weighs. So this is a reinforced RE71R on an NK PF01. And this guy here weighs 37.6. So we basically only gained 2 pounds, which is actually quite impressive considering we're going with a wider tire and a wider wheel. So to give you guys an idea as to how this looks before putting the wider wheels and tires on, this is how much the wheel pretty much sticks out past the fender. So typically on a Mini Cooper, you'll have like a little fender flare over top of this, and actually this here will sink inside the fender. So the fender, let's say, comes to about there. So the wheel will stick in. But this is gonna totally change when we put these wider wheels on. So again, just for reference, this here is a 17x7 plus 45. Okay, so now let's take this wheel off and we'll test fit the Apex Arc 8s instead of these NKs. I couldn't help myself, but I had to line every one of these up and just take a look at the concavity of these wheels. Look at how friggin' good that looks. So all 4 are the exact same size, the same specs, and they have the same tires on them. So let's go mount these on the Mini. Okay, so let's throw this on. Now, if I did my math correct, this shouldn't rub on the inside, and I shouldn't have an issue on the outside either. Aha! Look at that. Doesn't touch the brakes, doesn't touch the inner strut. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. So there's front. And there's rear. I can already tell you guys are gonna love this cambered look. Oh yeah. Stance Nation, a track car. Let's go. Okay, so that's without any lug nuts in. We're gonna get our impact gun. Grab our lug nuts. And you pretty much only need 1 or 2 of them on so that you get a good idea as to how they're gonna look. But right now, even with it like cambered in, it's still not touching anything. So put this guy, okay, this gun is sick. On the low setting, it tightens these lug nuts to about 40 foot-pounds, which means you can zap this on as hard as you want, and you're never gonna be over-torquing your wheels. Okay, so as soon as you get it on like that, look, ready? I can squeeze this as much as I want, and it's not gonna go past 40 foot-pounds. So there you go, that's better. So that's 1 wheel on. Yeah, those wide body fender flares are pretty much a must if you want to run these kind of wheels and tires. But this is going to be insanely grippy. Now the biggest difference as to why I went with this tire instead of the R888 is not because of necessarily the tire compound difference. Obviously, this 40 compound is going to be a little bit stickier, but the issue that I had before was what happens when that 250/540 got the wheels in the front to turn. It would actually come in contact with right here on the front side of the bumper. So with this smaller circumference tire, I shouldn't have that same issue. So this again is with the car in the air. Rear wheels, it's pretty much the exact same story. I might have to run spacers, might not. It all depends on what kind of setup this looks like after I put the fender flares on. But I'm really excited to get this thing going. I haven't ever driven on a car that has such sticky of tires. Yeah, these are so nice. 235/40. Proxy RRs. So I'm hoping you guys can see this. I pretty much have about a finger's width up front between the wheel and the strut. So that is the closest area of contact on the front of these cars. On the back sides, the issue, well actually there is no issue, but if there was going to be an issue, it would be on the side here. So the rear trailing arm comes back, totally made out of aluminum. And can you even see my finger back there? There, okay, so right there, you can see that I can put my hand behind the entire thing. Goes all the way down, and there's nothing interfering. So this will not be an issue. These wheels, this tire setup in this spec. So I'm not gonna have any rubbing whatsoever, but keep in mind, look at how much wider this setup is than stock. Take a look at how much this pokes. So I am, of course, going for a race car setup. I want traction. I wanna have as much of this tire touching the ground as possible. So if you guys are all into that stance stuff, you could probably get away with the same wheel if you wanted to run stretch and camber, but you're not gonna find that on this channel, at least on my cars. So this wheel and tire setup will not rub, it will not have any issues, and I am so pumped about this. Now, I would like to run a wider tire if possible on this setup, but unfortunately, when you're in a 17-inch wheel, there's not really many wide, low-profile tire setups. So the 255/40 was too big. If there was a 255/35, man, I would buy that like that, because that is what I would pretty much need for this setup to be perfect. You get a ton of grip, you get a ton of traction, and you'd have a wheel and tire setup that's the perfect overall circumference compared to stock. We'll see how this goes. But again, as you guys know, if you guys watched my other video, my high pressure fuel pump went on me. So I bought a new one, it's coming in, and I have a really cool story about that because it's gonna be the last high pressure fuel pump that I'll ever need. Yeah, and I won't be paying a dime more even if I need another one. It's a really weird business concept. I have no clue how this company is still staying in business, but you guys will find out about that in a bit. My issue is my high pressure fuel pump died, so I can't exactly beat on the car. Starting it up is honestly a pain in the butt. It's got horrible drivability problems, and as soon as you go past like half throttle, you have issues. So I have a new one coming in, it's an OEM one, and it's pretty much mounted right here. So there's a low pressure fuel pump in the fuel tank. It sends fuel to the front. The high pressure fuel pump builds crazy high pressures because this is a direct injection engine. And then once that's all pressurized, it can feed that fuel into the combustion chambers at like 800 PSI. So mine is not working, and for that reason, it's still on jack stands. But the new one's coming in tomorrow. I'll be making a video for you guys about that. But as for the wheels and tires, guys, they're dope. They are so sick. Now, I have a question for you. What do you guys think about painting the fender flares? So they're currently black right now. It's like the standard finish, I guess, as to how they came. The Mini right now is all pepper white. I don't know if I want to paint the fender flares to match the body color. I don't know if I want to keep my fender flares black and maybe wrap the whole car. What do you guys think? I want your opinion. And also, let me know of a color. Now, I will tell you guys right now, I do want to wrap the roof black because I'm not a big fan of the pepper white. I want to do black from the chrome line up. So dark tint, black roof, race car, everything else. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about these wheels and tires? I love them. I'm so pumped to drive on these things. If you guys want to find out more information about any of the stuff you guys saw in this video, you guys can find that information in the description box. If you have any further questions, comment section's down there. You guys know what to do. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.